went through a thorough process to identify all of my work-related emails and deliver them to the State Department, and provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related.
The FBI also discovered several thousand work-related emails that were not the group of 30,000 emails returned by Secretary Clinton.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information.
We as a nation have never been here before, faced with a choice a mere 4 months from now that will shake and shape not only where we live, but the world itself, where we will place someone in the greatest position of power and turn them loose with our futures and our fortunes. And growing numbers of those who have made up their minds decisively on whom they will place in that chair are not completely sure they're doing the right thing. And it's that point of order, doing the right thing, the legal thing, that has created a groundswell of anger across America tonight, because there are people on the right and on the left, and with no discernible political affiliation of any kind, asking a simple question. What happened to the rule of law and the promise that no matter how wealthy somebody is, no matter how behind the scenes powerful they may be, and no matter how much arrogance or hubris they display with all that power behind them, that they're treated the same as everybody else when it comes to breaking the law? Hillary Clinton is not in the clear yet, not by a long shot, because in the wake of decisions and comments from FBI Director James Comey, Congress is now getting involved. The Justice Department, seen by many as an effective arm of a partisan government, is not free and clear. And we could be looking at a political upheaval of biblical proportions over the next few weeks and months, because there are plenty of those ordinary citizens who feel as if they've been backed into a corner from which there is no escape, save for one that will cost this nation dearly for generations to come. Your phone calls and comments are part of this discussion. Be lined up and ready to go right now. 1-877-Newsmax, 1-877-639-7629. Welcome back to The Hardline. Political commentator, author of the fascinating book, Lessons My Father Taught Me, The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan, the son of our former president, Michael Reagan. Michael, always good to talk to you, but boy, I'll tell you, have we got a lot to do here this evening, so let's get right to it. In light of what happened, the FBI announcement yesterday, Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, says that lawmakers are looking at whether there's any action they can take over Hillary Clinton's email practices while she was still Secretary of State. Michael, there are people out there saying, and Nancy Pelosi's right out there saying, it's all you Republicans out there, you're the fault. This has been done, it's been explained, and it's over. Now we've got Congress wanting to get involved. I see you chuckling at Nancy Pelosi, and I can tell you there's a lot of people doing exactly the same thing here tonight, even on the Democratic side. But what possibly could Congress do at this point? There are many people who believe, case closed.
Yeah, there's not much really they can do now except really talk about in Congress, have the hearings, bring in the FBI Director Comey and talk to him, see if he'll give us any answers to how he got to the decision that he made. I mean, he laid out the perfect reason why to, in fact, indict, if you will, the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and then he dropped the bombshell and said, but he's not going to do anything. And if you heard a loud noise from Washington, D.C., it might have been the slamming of one's head against their door at the vice presidential headquarters, because I'm sure Joe Biden was teeing himself up, waiting for exactly what we were waiting for, hoping this was his way to get into the race and become the president of the United States.
How interesting you talked about that, because I'm going to go there in just a minute. It's something that I've been thinking about for the last night. However, let's get to this first. The House Oversight Committee Chair, Jason Chaffetz, explaining his reasons for calling on FBI Director Comey to testify in front of Congress. Here's his reasoning.
I would really like to know the difference between carelessness and negligence, because the director frequently referred to intent, but that's not in the statute. You don't, if you are grossly negligent in the handling of classified information, which clearly, based on the fact pattern that the director laid out, she was, why is that different? And why did he use that word careless, extremely careless, and what's the difference?
Michael, you've been around politics a long time. There's one word that I hate, and it's conspiracy. I despise it. I spit it out because I think 99.999% of them are all trash and give people something to talk about when they're not intelligent enough to see the facts. But Let's stop here. Comey lays out every single reason that she's guilty. She breaks federal law. She checks off all the boxes. FBI says they're not going to go after her. Loretta Lynch, she basically says, I'll take whatever the FBI gives me. Now she seems maybe to be pulling back. She hasn't exactly said yet that she won't bring any indictments. Michael, there are people out there swearing that this is some sort of a conspiratorial action and everybody is working in concert here. Do you see that? Or again, is it just one of those things that people are throwing out there because they have nothing better to do?
I don't know why you would think that when the President of the United States, former president, just standing on the tarmac in Arizona waiting for a plane to land. Why would you think that something was going on? Doesn't the President of the United States always stand on tarmacs waiting for planes to land so he can climb aboard and talk about his grandchildren, if you will? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of reasons for people to really worry about all of these things. But maybe Comey said the right thing when he said he doesn't think there is a prosecutor out there that would want to take this case. You know something? He might have been looking down the line on who exactly this was and know that there wasn't a prosecutor wanting to take this case against a Clinton. And that might have been really the bottom line of all of this, that it would go nowhere, it would end up nowhere, because the Justice Department really didn't want to prosecute the Secretary of State.
1-877-Newsmax if you want to join us. Now, sir, you brought something up a couple of moments ago, and I was postulating this morning. The DNC, the Democrats, the people of power, find out that Hillary Clinton is far too damaged. They know that something's going to come down the line. They fear that still to this point there may be some sort of legal action coming. She may still be under indictment. They go to her and say, you're out. We're not throwing money at you. You can either get out on your own or we'll push you out. Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination. Democrats come in second. They figure out a way, somehow, some way, boy, I hate that, there's that C word again, that conspiracy word, to make sure that she's out and Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren or somebody else come up and are presented as the 2016 Democratic ticket. Okay, Michael, go ahead and smack me around right now and tell me how wrong I am.
No, you're not really wrong. The fact is there's a lot of Republicans out there that would love for that to happen, for Joe Biden to step in and take the place of Hillary Clinton.
Because they like him, don't they? Isn't that the reason why? Because they like him and they feel that they can work with him.
That's right. And they would have a place to go on Election Day. Right now, their choice is Hillary or Donald Trump. And there's a lot of people who don't like either one of those choices, would like a third choice other than a third party. And if Biden were to jump in, it would give them what they feel would be a safe haven to go. Somebody who's likable, somebody who's relatable, and somebody they believe they can work with.
But is that just foolish for us to even sit here? Are we just wasting time when we throw that out here? Because let's face it, this is still a democracy. People have already spoken. But then again, there's all sorts of things that go on inside the Beltway that we never know. We don't want to, again, create a reality show here. But are we wasting our time going here?
No, you're not, because I'm telling you, there are people in Washington, D.C. talking about that very issue right now. They just want to see what damage is going to be. They're up right now to getting damage control in place. If they cannot control the damage that was done yesterday by the FBI director, if they can't take care of that, they're going to have to go to her possibly and ask her to step down. If she does, Joe Biden's in. There are Democrats talking about that right now, as there are Republicans talking about what do we do if Biden jumps in.
Let's grab a couple of phone calls here before we move on at 1-877-Newsmax. Pete's in Riverside, California. Pete, you can't figure out why people are voting for Hillary Clinton. I got news for you. There's people out there that are voting for her, and they're standing right behind her today.
Yeah, they're just like staunch supporters. I just don't get it. And I think they're just all getting government money and they want to keep coming. I'm not sure what it's about.
Well, wait a minute, Michael, there's a good point here. Why do you think that the people, the Democrats, the people who are right behind Hillary Clinton, they see all this, it's right in front of their face, yet they say that, wait a minute, I'll still go with her because she has a track record and she's not Donald Trump?
She's a Democrat. Democrats hang together better than Republicans do on Election Day. You know, elections, if you look at it, Republicans need a leader or an enemy to coalesce around. Democrats only need a Democrat to coalesce around. And Hillary right now is that Democrat to coalesce around. Liberals have an ideology that they all get behind. Conservatives, there's all kinds of conservatives. There's social conservatives. There's economic conservatives. And you have to have somebody who leads who can bring them all together. And if you don't, you lose the election. Liberals only worry about liberalism or progressives.
Okay, about 90 seconds left. Michelle's in Baltimore, Maryland. Michelle, you believe there'll be a lot of fallout against Hillary after her not being charged. However, polls that are out today that, by the way, were taken before the announcement came out, still have her, Michelle, with a double-digit lead over Donald Trump.
You know, it's called living in fantasy land. We really are going to have to hold on tight and vote our conscience and not be swayed by the injustice that's being spread. Unfortunately, no one is actually doing the novel thing using common sense. Common sense is not common anymore, and we have to see through the muck and mire and use logic. And we're going to overcome this, but we have to use logic. Let's not be fooled. Let's not have the wool taken in, putting the wool over our eyes, because we're more intelligent than that.
Okay, by the way, and I do want to say to you something, Michelle. I want to say to you, how dare you take what my granny told me, where she said common sense is not that common. She said that all the time. Good for you. Michelle, thanks a lot for the call. 30 seconds here, Michael. What should the Republicans be doing right now to attack Hillary?
People ask me, who am I going to vote for? Who should I vote for? Who do I make a choice for? Trump or Hillary? And I've broken it down this way. Both of them could most likely end up in World War III. Vote for the person that you believe will win it.
Wow. That's the first time we've heard World War III involved in here, but I'll tell you what, there are some people who believe that one or the other, it still may lead us there. Let's lead you to read one of the great books of 2016, Lessons My Father Taught Me, The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan. And it's written by our guest, Michael Reagan. Michael, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for joining us. So now, where do we Democrats and Republicans go from here? We're going to take that up next with the political animal, and more of your phone calls at 1-877-NEWSMAX here on The Hard Line.